Okay, hey guys, today I wanted to make a little bit of a tier list for the Arc Raiders weapons. This is all based on my opinion. Obviously, it's not necessarily a fact, but I've played about 150, 200 hours of Arc Raiders so far. It's closer to 150, and I've pretty much used all of these guns, and I will be evaluating them based on kind of like a mix between whether they are fully leveled or not fully leveled. Um, to be quite honest, I'll kind of just go over them assuming, like, I'll mention if they're good at like a high level, but I'll also rate them based on their rarity a little bit. Like, obviously, not most people don't have a Tempest blueprint. I don't have a Tempest blueprint. So, if the weapon is strong, but like not, let's say it's weaker than the Stitcher, let's say if it was weaker than the Stitcher, I would rate it lower simply because like even if they're on the same kind of tier, I mean the gun's just rare, right? It's more difficult to get. So let's get this started with the anvil, which depending on its tier, it's about A or S. I would not. The only reason I wouldn't put the anvil in S tier, which I can put it here tentatively, but the reason I wouldn't put this in S tier is because it just requires a whole lot of kind of misplay from your opponents. Like actually, if you two tap someone in the head, right? If you headshot body shot someone, it's ST. It just insta kills them pretty much. There's nothing they can do. But that usually only happens when they're like looting or when they like incredibly misplay the situation. Otherwise, it's just a very decent like mid range poke, kind of usable close range if you know what you're doing. It is very good on Arc. So you know what? Actually, I'll talk this up to S tier. Okay, Arpeggio. This gun's ass. This gun's really okay. I see a lot of people run the Arpeggio, and my problem with that is it's just first of all, you will never hit the entire burst at a range above like 15 meters. And even if you have it like fully modded out, you have like a green or a blue compensator, you have a green stock, you have like a vertical grip, you're like at 30 meters, you're gonna be hitting. At 40, you already won't. Like you're gonna be like hitting two shots, not the third. And that's if you aim for the body, right? A lot of guns, they really get a lot out of hitting people in the head. And this gun is very allergic to hitting people in the head past the range of 10 meters. And the problem with that is its damage absolutely fucking blows at close range. So it's more like a sustained tempo gun, right? It's more of like a gun if you're in a long fight and people are missing each other. You have more ammo than them. You can win the long fight. But 95% of the time, not only is this, a green gun, so it's a little more rare than like white guns, but 90% of the time, you're also not going to have it modded out enough for it to actually not just blow. So I'm going to put it like it's genuinely like one of the worst guns, in my opinion. Okay, the Bettina. Bettina's like B or A, depending on where you aim, literally. It's like if you headshot people with it, it's A. It's if you don't headshot people with it, it's B. So I'll put it in A because I headshot people. It's really fun. It's really crisp, smooth, awesome. But it's a head seeker. You need to be hitting those heads. Okay, the Bobcat is in B tier. It's fine. It's pretty good. It's pretty decent. Like, it has technically the quickest time to kill out of any non-shotgun, I guess. But the problem with that is it's just it feels very annoying to use sometimes because you actually have to hit your entire magazine. Like you can't afford to miss more than like two bullets on the green mag. It takes to put that into perspective. So it has 20 rounds in the magazine. It takes 20 rounds to kill a light mag in the body, and or a light shield, I should say, in the body. And then it takes 22 to kill a medium shield in the body. So you're almost required to have at least a random like a white mag, but having a white mag is not very hard. It's a pink gun. You're gonna run it with a mag, but it kind of feels bad to hit someone 17 times and watch them not die. At the same time, though, it is pretty good. Like if you hit your shots, pretty decent. Uh, the Burletta, it's either C or B, but out of solidarity, I'll put it in C because I do think it's worse than the Bobcat. But this is like if you have a really good trigger finger, it's a B tier gun. It's just a nice sidearm. Most of the time, you won't be running this alone. You'll probably be running this with like a Ferro or a Renegade, just something for close range. You are incredibly cool if you're on this gun, because your other options are much less cool. Like you're less of a cool person for running them. Okay, the Equalizer. This thing's fucking okay. It used to be, I still think it's C tier, but before the Hullcracker was nerfed, like 10 times in a row, um, it was also still C tier. But I think it's now a little better comparatively because your other option, which is the Hullcracker, used to be just that much better, where you had like no reason to run this. This gun has a lot of recoil. Well, it doesn't have a lot of recoil, but its recoil is very random and jittery. So you'll aim in one direction and then it will like swap 2 meters left, 2 meters right, 2 meters left, up, down, and it's just very unpredictable, which means you can't keep this on target very well. It is very, very durability efficient though. This is it's like gimmick, I suppose, where you have 30 mags in your inventory and you will not break this gun by the time you shoot them. It will be a like 70% durability. So you could shoot like actually 100 mags through this gun before it breaks, which is really nice. But at the same time, the actual damage output of the gun is not that high, which is a little annoying. But what can you do? Like, it's not horrible. Like if you had to run something, I mean that's fine. The another issue I run into is because the gun is so loud and so obnoxious, and like it's a lot of like power fantasy in it because it's like a minigun. A lot of people who are like free kits or low tier kits will go to you to try and like PvP you, but this gun's actually kind of bad in PvP. It's worse than like a lot of other options. In fact, it's worse than almost every eye. Like you probably would only want this over like a Ferro or something like that, right? So yeah, I that's just what I think. Um, Ferro. I mean, it's kind of B or A. I used to think it's really A tier. And you know, a lot of people early on during the playtests, during what's its face, during the server slam also believed that it was A tier, and everybody that spawned with free kits always wanted to have a Pharaoh like in their inventory because they were like, oh my god, I can kill AI now finally. But after a little while, after the honeymoon period, you know, ended, people realized they can actually kill AI with more than just the Pharaoh. You can actually just like stand still for a couple of seconds, wait for the Hornet to aim at you, and then just shoot off its rotors like pow pow pow. It takes like 3 Stitcher bullets and 3 like Rattler bullets. So it's not as important to have heavy armor penetration as you might think. It is if you want to fight like a Bastion, or not even a Bastion, if you want to fight a Rocketeer. But otherwise, this gun is pretty decent. It's pretty good. It's a very good starter gun. If I was ranking, you know, starter guns alone, then this would be like the A tier starter gun or even the S tier one. But compared to everything that you have at this point, it's not as strong as it used to be. When that's all people had. Okay, Hairpin. This gun is like the utility gun. This is, I believe, what the developers envisioned, where you have like your secondary as like a utility weapon, and you can like break cameras, you can break alarms, you can break things quickly and silently. And in the absolute early game, this was very useful. And by the way, I like this gun. I really love the well rod in Marauders. So it's not like me hating on the hairpin. I like the style, I like the idea. I like running stupid little like hairpin runs sometimes, but like, the gun itself is just you have a melee weapon, right? So 90% of the time, unless the camera is like way above, there's a couple cameras like that where like on the research building in damn battlegrounds, right? There's one camera that's just way up there and you can't hit it with your melee. Like in this case, the hairpin would be nice, but also it just like becomes completely worthless once you unlock, or not worthless. It's kind of like a fun meme gun to run, but its utility of it being a suppressed weapon becomes like completely useless once you have just like a suppressor on your gun. Even on like even a shotgun suppressor, which is not a very useful thing on its own, but even a shotgun suppressor kind of just makes this useless. Okay, the Hullcracker used to be A tier. Now it's just okay. They nerfed the gun's ammo craft twice, and then they nerfed explosive damage in such a way that hindered this weapon a lot, where it used to take like 5 shots to kill a leaper, and now it takes closer to 7 or 8. And it used to take like 7 or 8 shots to kill a rocketeer, and now it's closer to 10 or 12, where you just like it's good, still a good weapon. It's not in C tier or D tier, but if I wanted to kill Arc, I would do it with another weapon that's gonna come up here pretty soon. But if you have one in your inventory, it's worth running. Like if you wanna do one of the trials that requires you to kill Arc, especially Hornets, it still kills Hornets pretty well. The Toro. This gun's A tier. This gun's really powerful. At all levels. A lot of people believe it's really bad at level 1 because what they do is they just stand out in the open and they just look at people and start DPSing them. This is not how you're supposed to use a pump action shotgun. You're supposed to use it like a Peacekeeper in Apex Legends. You're supposed to get into cover, corner peek someone, pump them for like 50, get back in the corner, pump them for 50 again after the like pump animation ends and kill them. Right? You're supposed to play your cover like very hard. At a certain point, once you have it upgraded enough, once it's like level 4, maybe you put a kinetic converter on it if you're like really into the bit. Then yeah, then you can just like stand out in the open and DPS people, like DPS against Bobcats and like just win. But if you play this weapon correctly, it's really strong at any tier of its upgrades. So it's kind of like very demanding. It's very imposing. Like if you hear a Toro, you have to change how you play. You have to be like, okay, I'm gonna nade corners when I fight this guy. Now I'm gonna stand away from the door, right? Because if you don't want to get hit for that 60 and just like lose the fight immediately. The Jupiter. This is the gold standard for what a legendary gun should be. It's kind of like a Ferro in PvP, where it's not incredibly strong, but it will break a shield, it will poke people, it will deal the damage you need it to deal, right? At long range. But at the same time, it just manhandles arc. It destroys a lot of arc. You can one-shot Hornets, and if you aim directly for their eye, although the hitbox is a little inconsistent, I would still buff it by like maybe 2 damage, right? So that it like actually kills the Hornet in one shot consistently. Um, but it also takes energy ammo, which means it's very ammo efficient. The only problem with that is it's very low durability, where it breaks in 25 mags. But I'm gonna be real, if you shoot 25 mags of this gun and the entire lobby or the entire map isn't clean of arc or people, then that's just on you because this gun's really good. Um, I wouldn't say it's like overpowered in PvP. It's just fine. Like again, that's just a Ferro. But at the same time, being just a Ferro while also being a better Hullcracker, kind of nice. Um, so yeah, the Kettle. The Kettle is actually really strong. I would put it like here. Um, maybe slightly below the Ferro because the Ferro provides a lot of utility for like Hornets. You can like it's a lot easier to kill Hornets with it. It's kind of a lot nicer to PvP in because you can just poke people at range. But the Kettle is very powerful and people are sleeping on it sometimes. Where a level 2 or 3 Kettle is actually just like it basically is the progenitor for the Venator. Where you can spam fire it. It has decent. It has pretty good stats overall. Like it has a bullet velocity upgrade, which is not ideal, I wouldn't say, because just anything that messes with velocity messes with your muscle memory. but it's pretty subtle, so you won't really have a problem with it. And I mean, if you only run a level 3 or 4 one, you'll always have the same bullet velocity. So I'm gonna keep this at B tier. It's actually just like if you headshot people with it, even it's like ooh, it gets spicy. The Osprey. This entirely depends on how you play the gun. Um, it's C tier if you don't like, if you can't get used to its first person gimmick, right? Because it puts you in first person when you aim DS. It's C tier. Otherwise, I'd say it's like B, maybe like above the Ferro even, because this is just like the sort of Ferro tool, right? It has an actual scope, so you can hit like rotors a lot easier. So you don't really need the penetration, which it does loses because it has medium pen instead of heavy pen, right? Um, but at the same time, does really well in PvP. Like you can snipe people pretty well. You can go for those heads. It's the kind of gun that you hate seeing when somebody's on top of the control tower. So I'd say it's pretty good. The Rattler. This gun goes from like actual D tier garbage to like B tier when it's fully upgraded. Um, if you use this gun as like a free kit and you're on a level 1 Rattler with no mods, then you're gonna fucking hate it. But if you come back and revisit it with like putting full green mods on it and you level up to like 3 or 4, that the gun's actually kind of good. Like I would say it's like kind of Kettle tier, like a little worse. Primarily because you still spend a lot of time reloading. It still reloads 2 rounds of like per reload. I would personally make it 4 once you upgrade the gun. Like let's say the gun's level 3, and at level 3 it gets the bonus of being able to load 4 bullets per like clip instead of like 2. Because you actually spend forever reloading it once it has like 18 ammo in the mag. But at the same time, it's very stable, unlike the Arpeggio. It's actually much more stable with proper mods. It can actually poke people at mid-range, and if you go for the head, it's not horrible at close range. Alright, so now for the Renegade. Renegade is S tier. It's incredibly strong. It is another one of those guns that you kind of have to upgrade. So once if it's level 1, it's like C tier. If it's level 3 or 4, which it should always be 3 or 4, it's the best like PvP gun in the game at like mid-range, long-range poke, because you absolutely demolish people. You pulverize them. They can't do fucking anything to you. But if you're up close to against someone with like a level 3 or level 4 Renegade, you're gonna do fine. Like if it's a volcano, you're still gonna die, but we'll get to that later. But um, if you hit your heads, still gonna put up a decent fight. You'll probably lose to some of these. You'll probably lose to like a Bobcat up close or a Kettle, but the Renegade's the kind of a gun where you would probably run this alongside some close range weapon, right? Kind of like the Anvil. The Anvil you can just rock solo. You can also rock this solo, but if you really want like the extra insurance against close range fights, if you're playing on like a map that can quickly devolve into close range, like I would say Buried City, right? Buried City has a lot of fights where you really want the Renegade, but it also has a lot of fights where you really want an El Toro or a Bobcat. The same happens at like Blue Gate, where if you are above ground, you would just want to have this permanently equipped, but if you're below ground, you want the Toro, you want a fucking Bobcat, you want a Volcano. So overall, PvP wise, this gun's insane. PvE wise, you need to hit your shots. You need to hit those rotors. But if you do, it kills hornets and wasps really smooth. Uh, it's a little more rocky to kill like fireballs because with the anvil or with the Ferro, you just aim somewhere and the fireball just dies, right? But with the Renegade, you have to hit it once. That will strip its like front plate, and then you have to hit it the second time. But what could happen if you're not quick enough is it will roll over onto the plate you didn't break, and now you're gonna hit the plate it didn't break, so it's gonna take you an extra shot, which is annoying, but it's not horrible. And I mean, the other method of killing it works too, like it does for the Kettle or for any of the light weapons I mentioned, where You can just wait until the fireball opens its faceplate, shoot it once with the Renegade, it'll die, or twice with the Kettle. It's not rocket science. Okay, the Stitcher. I'm gonna put this into A tier simply because it's a Bobcat, but like a white rarity. Like you don't need anything. I mean, you could use a mag, you could use a level 2 or 3 upgrade. Upgrades help it a lot, but it's not necessary. And at the same time, um, I mean, like the Bobcat kills people 0.02 seconds quicker than the Stitcher. Like, you're not really gonna notice that in most cases, and you are gonna lose a lot less if you die with it. So I would say the Stitcher is currently just the better weapon, and it's a very good pair to match with an anvil or with a Ferro or with a Rattler, or not a Rattler, but a Renegade. Oh, the Tempest. The Tempest is another like tried and true kind of like this is your everything gun where if you aim for the head at close range, it'll solo most guns in the game, and if you aim and take your time at mid range, it'll be pretty good at mid range, and it'll be pretty good at long range. So this is the kind of gun that kind of like the ace of all trades, where you will be able to run this wherever you want, whenever you want, but it will also lose to some of the more specialized guns at their job. Like if you have a Renegade, you're gonna kill a Tempest at long range or mid range. But if the Tempest gets close to you, it'll cook you. And likewise, if you have a close range gun like I wouldn't say because Bobcat and Stitcher are very polarized, right? You have like a Kettle, you'll also lose to the Tempest, at like close range. Uh, and if you're close to a Stitcher as a Tempest, you will lose to the Stitcher. But if the Stitcher gets just a little too far, now you have the upper hand. So this gun's really like you can win every single fight if you play it properly, if you play every matchups like properly, where you take your space against the Stitcher, you push against the Renegade, you can just win everything. Um, the Torrente, I mean, okay, the Torrente is really funny. It's really funny, but it is a worse Toro. Just like what it does, it effectively is a shotgun, but instead of like shooting 8 pellets at once, it shoots a continuous stream of bullets. It's very fun to like surprise people with. It's very fun to like walk around the corner and just start blasting. But as a weapon, it definitely loses to the shotguns at close range. It wins against the Stitcher, but like it's a blue tier weapon that is also a little RNG, so it might not even always win against the Stitcher because you gotta care about where your bullets are going. So you really have to like shove it up someone's ass. You have to like be directly in front of them to win with the Torrente. But if you are, it's really fun. So that makes up for it. I will also note a lot of these weapons are not that heavy. I guess the El Toro is pretty heavy. The Bettina is kind of heavy, but this gun's 12 fucking kilograms. Like that early game when you don't have any of the upgrades that increase your carrying capacity or increase your ability to carry weapons. Ooh, 12 kilograms fucking hurts, man. Like that alone kind of like lowers it a little. The Venator, this gun fell from grace. I'd say it's still a little bit better than the Stitcher, but thank God it got fucking nerfed. This gun used to be the terrorizer of the worlds. You could kill god tier fucking demons with this gun. This gun was used in the Warhammer universe to destroy like fucking Slaanesh because it was just that strong. It beat every gun in the game at close range, and at mid range it was fine, and at long range it could still do things, and it was 2 kilograms. And it still, even to this day, has a very, very forgiving mag capacity where like an anvil takes half of its magazine to kill a player in light shields, and this gun can wipe a squad of light shields without reloading. And the reload's really quick at level 4. Um, at the same time, this wasn't is a gun that requires it to be level 3 or 4 to actually be good. A level 1 Venator is like C tier because it's actually worse than the Burletta, a level 1. But a level 4, it still is very, very powerful. You still see it a lot. I think that's okay. I think they did well with the nerf. I don't think they really need to nerf it much further. What I would personally like to see if they did is maybe remove the mag slot, but give it like a 12 base ammo. So it doesn't have the same height, doesn't have the same peak, but also doesn't hurt a lot at low tiers as much. I think that'd be okay. But if they also leave it alone like this, I would not complain that much. It's fine. The volcano, you can, if you are close to someone and you have a volcano, you can kill them if you are blind, deaf, with no limbs, and a heart disease. If you actually lose a single firefight when you have a volcano equipped and the enemy doesn't, you should immediately uninstall the video game. This gun is incredibly overpowered at close range, and the one saving grace of the volcano is that that's all it's good at. Whereas, like, even a toro, you can kind of like poke people for like 20 damage, right, at mid range. And a lot of other weapons are not shotguns, right? All of the other weapons are not shotguns. So they even a bobcat can still kind of tickle you at mid range pretty well. But this gun is specifically like you shove it up someone's face and you cover them with pellets and they die immediately. But if they're smart enough or if you're dumb enough and they get to make space away from you, they will kill you with like any other gun. But if they don't, and if you're playing on like Stella Montes or something like that, you're just gonna win every fight all of the time. Unless you get headshot in the back while looting, right? But in any other instance, if you're actually the initiator of a fight, you should win every single time. The Aphelion. Uh, okay, I don't want to put this in the D tier, but it is worse than the Equalizer. So honestly, I'm going to have to put this in the D tier. I've used this gun multiple times. I've gotten the blueprint, and all I can say is, guys, I understand you don't want to make like overpowered weapons, right? You don't want to make overpowered legendaries because then, you know. But like at the same time, this gun struggles a lot. This gun is a second Arpeggio where it fires in 2-shot bursts, so it does not fire consecutively, like the Venator, or it actually doesn't. It fires consecutively, unlike the Venator, which fires two bullets at the same time. So what ends up happening is your gun recoils between each bullet, and you're shooting at someone, and you go pow pow, and your second shot missed them, and then you go pow pow again, and your second shot also misses them. Uh, but if you aim for the legs, you will often hit them once in the leg, once in the chest, right? But I mean, come on, guys, that's fucking stupid. First of all, um, second of all, even fully modded, at ranges above like 20 meters, it kind of sucks at hitting people with both of its shots. And if you don't hit people with both of its shots, you are honestly better off with a hairpin. I'm not even joking. The hairpin deals more damage per single bullet. Like this gun fires 2 bullets, like I mentioned, but also you're almost never gonna hit the second one. And if you're up close to players, a lot of the close range weapons will just kill you, because there's a pretty decent delay between firing bullets. But now you might be asking, okay, well, if it's not good at PvP, and it's not good in close range PvP, it's not good at mid range PvP, it definitely isn't good at long range PvP because it's gonna die to an Osprey immediately. Um, well, what is up with its PvE damage, right? Because the legendaries are normally PvE weapons. And to that I say, this gun at PvE is like an anvil that you reload instantly instead of reloading 1 bullet per. Instead of having a rounds reload, you have a full magazine reload, and that's it. So its arc armor penetration is not very strong. It's just strong, which is the same arc armor penetration as an anvil. At the same time of it being a legendary weapon that deals about an anvil's shot worth of damage in a full burst. So if you land both of the hits, it'll do about as much as an anvil would. Which, cool, I guess. I mean, so it's like okay at PvE, and then it's really bad at PvP. I mean, why did you add this? Like, I'm gonna be real. I really want new guns in the game. I was really excited for the Aphelion rifle. And I think maybe that's why I'm underwhelmed. But come on, right? Like, give it something. Give it something. Give it like a bit more damage, right? Or reduce the recoil. I actually make it like the Venator, where it fires both shots at the same time, and thus the recoil is only applied after both shots are fired, right? Then it would kind of like actually be B tier, and it would be kind of fun. Or you know what? Remove the mechanic altogether of it being a burst fire weapon and just make it like a DMR. Or just tap fire. It's like pow, pow, right? Cool. That'd be great. But as it stands, it's not weaker than a hairpin, right? But it has worse utility than a hairpin, and it's only like better at actual PvE, and it's not even that much better. And considering this is a legendary gun, I mean, it sucks. Okay, it's rough. It's very rough to say this is good. Um, but yeah, this is about how it goes for the tier list. I would say that some of these weapons do fluctuate a little with their tier, like I mentioned. So I put the Rattler up high. This is not a tier 1 Rattler, right? The tier 1 Rattler is here. This is a tier 4 like modded Rattler. This is like a tier 2, 3 Kettle. But a lot of weapons, like the Vulcano, don't really care as much. You're basically just killing them more with the tier 4 Vulcano. And I think a lot of the S tier weapons, except for the Renegade, are kind of all like very useful regardless of their rank. Um, the Renegade is here on a special notice because holy fuck, at level 4 it just deletes you from the video game. Um, but yeah, I personally kind of enjoy this, but I also would like them to make tier 1 weapons on some of the guns a little better. Like, I don't like how a tier 1 Renegade is actually just like here. The tier 4 is over here, right? But it's fine. Like, overall, I think the weapons are pretty decently balanced altogether. I think everything from S to C tier can be used to kill people. Um, in the sense that whatever you're running from any of these weapons, you can make it work absolutely with no question. And you can win a PvP fight, or you can win a PvE fight. And even the D tier weapons can be used to that extent. But the problem with those is they either require, like the Aphelion, a lot of investment because it's a matriarch core, it's 3 complex gun parts, it's 3 magnetic accelerators, or they are really wonky like the Arpeggio, where I'm going to be entirely honest. I have played this game for about 200 hours, like I mentioned at the beginning. I died to an Arpeggio twice, like 2 times. I genuinely have this thought in my head that if I get shot by an Arpeggio, it's either because the player is new or like because he found it in like a box, right? And I just genuinely, when I hear an Arpeggio fire, I'm like, oh cool, that guy can't kill me. That guy literally, it takes so fucking long to kill someone with an Arpeggio that, I mean, it's just rough, okay? So yeah, that'd be the tier list. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you hate me, and leave a dislike if you want me to die, I guess. Bye.